Rejoice, everyone. We're back with another Sekhie Reacts to Fate.
And we're back in Central America. I won't say South, because this is technically Central.
Nasu.
Oh, is it labeled as, like, South American?
He calls it the South American Lost Belt, despite the fact that it's, like, very clearly Central America. The fan base got on his case about it when...
Yeah. Yeah, because you split it at Panama, not at Mexico.
Yeah. It was a little bit fucked up here. A little bit fucked up. A lot of people were disappointed we didn't get as many South American servants as they would like.
Oh, I would have loved some Inca servants. There could have been some really cool stuff with Incas done, because then you could have done something with like a royal, like one of the Inca kings or queens with like quipu, you know? Because like we don't hear that much about quipu. We don't talk about it. Not even in like, you know, most stuff. I'm sure you don't even know what quipu are.
Nope.
They're recording knots. So the Inca didn't have written language, but as far as we can tell, they had records. They just made specific numbers and types of knots in specific intervals on like long cords. We still haven't really managed to figure out exactly what they all mean. But that's really fucking cool. And we could have gotten that, but no. Of course not. Of course not. You're going to call it South American and then make it Central American. Just have that open for a second.
But whatever, that's not what we're here to discuss. We're here to discuss Kukulkan again.
Kukulkan.
We previously did her as Kets.
Yeah, we did talk about Kukulkan during the Quetzalcoatl video. And we did bring up Kukumats, which is the other version. That's the T.H.E name for this similar, I won't say exactly the same, but similar deity. Can you shut the door? I forgot about that.
Yeah. Luna.
And like I won't say exactly the same deity because like between languages and cultures there's always gonna be a difference, but relatively the same, right? Like it maintains a similar place kind of in the cosmos. That sort of thing has some of the same things ascribed to it. But Kukulkan is the Mayan name for this deity that is related to Quetzalcoatl, which is the Aztec deity. One of the main worship centers is Chichen Itza. That is a terrible photo. No. That was terrible. No, we can do better. There we go. Yeah, we can do better. All right, is Chichen Itza or El Castillo by the...
Is this the same one that woman climbed up to the top?
Yes.
She shouldn't have.
Yes. And people screamed at her because you should not do that.
Don't be a jackass, people.
Yeah. And the reason why I pulled up this image is because on the equinox, the shadow cast makes the undulating shadow of the serpent down to its head from the top of the temple. Which is really fucking cool. I mean, look at that. Mm-hmm. This is the serpent itself, kind of flying down the temple, the feathered serpent, with the head at the bottom. So it's kind of coming out at the bottom. And I mean, this is also, like, think of it, this is an impressively sized, like, pyramid. There we go. Like, this is not small. This is not on the level of, like, the Great Pyramid of Giza, but this is not small, right? That's a lot of steps.
That'd be a lot of people stacked on top of each other.
What?
I mean, look, you could see around the scale of a person to the pyramid, even though it's probably a little bit larger of a person because they're in the foreground.
Yeah.
If you were to stack a bunch of people on top of each other, eventually you'd hit the top.
That's true of anything. Yeah, you could see the equinox. But yeah. So Chichen Itza is one of the kind of the main worship centers that we know of. Mayan religion's a lot more hard to kind of put back together because we have ironically more and less records of the Mayans than we do of the Aztecs. With the Aztecs we have the codices, but with the Mayans we have things like the Popol Vuh and kind of writings like the Mayan long count calendar dates, which we talked about during Quetzalcoatl's video, which of course, you know, if y'all want...
Sorry, there's a wire that keeps like brushing against my leg. I wanted to move it.
if y'all want some more information kind of on the deeper background and that sort of thing, you should go watch our Quetzalcoatl video, because I'm not just going to be restating everything that we talked about in that video. But Kukulkan kind of comes from mythology of the Mayan classical period, where Kukulkan was called Washaklahun Ubakan, which was kind of an old name, like the war serpent or the vision serpent in the post-classic period. And we know them as the plumed serpent or the feathered serpent, or, you know, kind of whatever moniker, and then serpent. So it is a snake deity. There's a pretty strong cult to Kukulkan and Quetzalcoatl throughout Mesoamerica. Mesoamerica meaning Central America, Mesoamerican, not South. I'm just going to emphasize that again. Quite a lot through kind of the Yucatan and Guatemalan highlands. So the reason why that place is called Chichen Itza, right, is it's actually a reference to the Itza state, which was the core of the founding of, kind of, as far as we're aware, worship of Kukulkan. Like, it's one of the places where it's strongest. And we think that their Kukulkan would have been the head of a pantheon of deities of primarily Mayan provenance, but likely non-Mayan as well, because it was a large trade area, because it was right around the Gulf of the coast of Mexico. So there would have been large groups of traders coming in and out. So you would have had Mayans and many others, which would have led to more of a syncretic pantheon containing deities from multiple different cultures and religions there. Okay. Yes. There are still stories told in the modern day about Kukulkan amongst the Maya that still live in the Yucatec Peninsula. There's one about how Kukulkan was born as a snake, but when he got older, it became obvious that he was not just a normal snake, so his sister cared for him in a cave. But he became so big, his sister couldn't feed him, so he flew out of his cave into the sea, causing a giant earthquake. And to let his sister know, he causes tremors every year in July, which is kind of a reason to explain sort of like weather and land conditions. And there's another version where he flew into the sun to speak to it, but the sun burnt his tongue because he was too prideful. So he's still talked about in a lot of different mythologies. I say he. It's hard to gender a deity this old who has so little, like, factually known about them. So I keep saying he because that's what I'm kind of ending up in because of a couple of the more modern stories. But, I mean, it is a serpent, so be that as it may for gender. So you've given me a couple other things to look at.
Yes.
And so I've popped a couple things open up here that I'm going to talk about. And the first thing is Xibalba, right? And Xibalba is basically the land of terror, or the land of fright, and it is the name of the underworld in Mayan mythology ruled by the Mayan death gods, of which there are several. But there are a couple main Mayan death gods who we'll talk about a little bit more further on. But the Mayan underworld is the home to both the death gods and their helpers. And then it's also partially the host of the hero twins' journey in the Popol Vuh, where they go through the underworld of kind of a mix of a couple Mesoamerican kind of things. So primarily they're going through Xibalba, right? So the hero twins, Hunhunapu and Xibalanque, basically they do an almost perfect example of the hero's journey, right? In their myth, where they end up kind of doing the full cycle, like the fall through the underworld, back up. But the two main rulers of the Mayan death gods were Hunkame and Vukubkame, 1 death and 7 death. And that's how their names are written, like the numbers and then that sort of thing. And Hunkame, 1 death, is the senior lord. And then there are a bunch of other lords who are technically demons, but also kind of like deities. And they're often paired together to cause sickness, starvation, destitution, death, fear, pain, all sorts of terrible things. So there's the flying scarab and gathered blood, Xiquiriapat and Cuchumaquik, right? And they make people's blood sick. And then there's a pus demon and a jaundice demon named Ahalpa and Ahalgana, who cause people's bodies to swell. Chamiabak, bone staff, and Chamiahulam, the skull staff, who turn dead bodies into skeletons. Ahalmets and Ahaltokob, the stabbing and sweeping demon, who hide in the unswept areas of your house and stab you to death. So everyone, do your sweeping, clean your house. Sheik and Patan, wing and packstrap, who make people die from coughing up blood while walking on the road. And then there's a bunch of other residents living in Xibalba who typically fall under the dominion of any one of these given lords and sometimes go to the face of the earth to carry out duties assigned to them. Kind of some of the major things about Xibalba is that there is the 5 or 6 houses that form the tests that the hero twins have to go through, which we'll be talking about one of them a little bit more later. And there's a ball court down there, and the reason why the ball court is important is because the hero twins have to play ball against the death gods in order to get Xibalanque's head back because it's been taken and he needs it. You know, you kind
Most
of
of us need our heads.
Yeah. The reason why I mentioned the houses is because each of the different houses has a different challenge, but one of them is called the Bat House, right? This is the 4th house. It's full of, like, dangerous shrieking bats, and the head of the Bat House is Kamazots. And you gave me Kamazots, right? Who is the bat spirit in service to the lords of the underworld. They're encountered by the hero twins in the 4th house in Spelunky. And the hero twins, you know how they defeated them? They squeezed themselves into their own blowguns to defend themselves from these circling bats. But Hunapu stuck his head out of the blowgun to see if the sun had come up, because when the sun comes up, their trial is done. And Kamazot snatches off his head and carries it off to be the ball for the ball court in the next ball game of the gods. Which is, I think, fucking hilarious. Look at this cute little Batman, though. This is the Batman.
Batman.
It's Batman, not Batman. Batman.
The OG Batman.
This is my Batman. So we're talking about a little bit about that. Notably, Xibalba does actually kind of fall when the Popol Vuh ends. I mean, it doesn't disappear, but it's not as predominant in mythology moving forward from this point. Like, you don't hear much about it outside of the Popol Vuh. So it continues to exist as a dark place, but they don't mention the same people doing the same things again and again. You know? So I had the Maya death gods up because there's a bunch of them. There's a couple, like, notable ones, but it really just depends on who you're talking about. Because, you know, God A is sometimes down there, but not super important based on what I know. I covered what I needed to cover from the Popol Vuh. You all should go read it. It's pretty fucking interesting. So next we move on to Mictlantecuhtli, which I'm going to do first, just because this is a person, right? This is the Lord of Mictlan. And I know that Nahui Mictlan is the, 8th or 9th Lost Belt? No, 7th? 7th Lost Belt. I'll be 7. Because that's South American Lost Belt, as they call it. This returns us to Aztec mythology. And so Mictlantecuhtli is the king of Mictlan, or the lowest section of the underworld in Aztec mythology, because the underworld is multiple layers here. I think it's 9 total layers, and they it's like a cyclical kind of going down thing. He's also just one of the principal gods in Aztec mythology, so he's very popular. There's a couple other names for him, like Neshtepehua and Tzontemoc, but he's most known by Mictlantecuhtli. He does have a wife, Mictecacihuatl, Mictecacihuatl is his wife. In Aztec mythology, gods are often also paired up like they were in Maya. Like, you often get two deities representing together. Like, for example, Mictlantecuhtli and his wife were the opposite complement of Ometecutli and Omicihuatl, who are the givers of life in Aztec mythology. So you kind of, a lot of the time, they have pairs of deities, and very often you've got kind of diametrically opposed pairs of deities a lot of the time. And then a lot of this stuff for Aztec mythology is recorded in the Aztec codices. So in Aztec mythology, there is a relevant story to Quetzalcoatl and Tezcatlipoca, and I know we're not covering Tezcatlipoca today, even though Tezcatlipoca is a servant now, right?
Yes.
And not an NPC hell?
Not an NPC hell.
Yeah, because I saw Tezcatlipoca appear on our list a while back, along with Tenochtitlan and Tlaloc.
Yes.
Yeah. So in Aztec mythology, Quetzalcoatl and Tezcatlipoca create the current world that we're living in. And according to the Aztecs, Quetzalcoatl was a twin with Xolotl, which we talked about in the Quetz video. And they were sent to get the bones of the last generation of gods from Mictlantecuhtli, because the bones rest in the underworld. The gods tried to block the escape with the bones, and although they did not block Quetz from escaping the underworld, Quetz was forced to drop the bones, which they scattered and broke, and then the shattered bones were collected and carried back to the living, where the gods turned them into the different races of mortals. And this is the reasoning as to why people look different all over the world, because the shattered bones didn't all look the same. So when people were formed out of them, they didn't all look exactly the same. Interestingly enough, you know how in Greek mythology, right, you put a drachma in someone's mouth?
Yes.
Right? There's a similar thing in Aztec mythology where the grave goods you're interred with are taken with you to the underworld and offered to Mictlantecuhtli and his wife. But that's pretty common all over the world. A lot of people took their stuff with you when they died. There's another version of this story where the god of death agrees to give the bones to Quetz if he can completely finish this test, and he has to travel through the kingdom 4 times while a shell sounds out like a trumpeting noise. But instead of giving Quetz the shell from Mictlantecuhtli, he gives him a normal shell without holes in it. So Quetz basically has worms bite through the shell to create holes, and then has bees enter it to make a sound like a trumpet to trick them into completing the task. So theoretically he'd still be able to win. And so often Quetz has a cut shell on his chest in depictions, because it represents that Ehecatl, the god of the one that the god of the wind wears. Yeah. And then Mictlan, right, which is the actual underworld. So Mictlan is the Aztec underworld. It consists of 9 distinct levels. And basically you journey from the 1st to the 9th, and it takes 4 years, but you're aided by Xolotl, the twin of Quetz. You have to pass a lot of challenges as you pass down, like a mountain range where mountains are constantly crashing into one another, wind that blows knives to scrape the flesh off of you, a river of blood, and jaguars that are actively trying to kill you on your journey down to the underworld.
Jaguar Man?
Yes! Jaguars were very important. There's also some other kind of myths involved with it, but those are some of the main ones. There's a couple other deities in Mictlan besides Mictlantecuhtli and his wife, like Cihuacoatl, who commands the spirits, called the Cihuateteo. And then there's Alcomitztli, Chalmecasuitl, Chalmecatl, and Acolnahuacatl. And they all kind of reign over different things, much like in Xibalba in the Mayan story, different gods reigned over kind of different aspects. There are some connections between Mesoamerican creation mythology and that sort of thing. The Mexica said that there were two primordial gods, Omecihuatl and Ometecuhtli, right? Whose children became the creator gods. And those children that became the gods were Xipetotec, Tezcatlipoca, Quetzalcoatl, and Huitzilopochtli, who inherited creation from their parents, right? So Tezcatlipoca and Quetzalcoatl organized the vertical and horizontal universes. So the horizontal universe was composed of cardinal directions, and the vertical was higher and lower, supported by 4 trees, each growing in a corner of the Tlalocan. And Tlalocan, right, as featured in Wakanda Forever.
Ah, yeah.
Tlalocan. It's the center of the universe. That's ruled by the rain deity Tlaloc.
I'm sorry, I'm in Loki mode right now.
No, so Tlalocan is basically the paradise, the center of the world, ruled over by the rain deity Tlaloc, who we will cover eventually. But it kind of makes these kind of 4 trees similar to the ideas of like the world tree, right? So they're holding up the world. And they stopped the overworld, the higher world, the upper part, from joining with the underworld, which is the lower world. The earth was a land formed from the body of Cipactli, the crocodile sea monster, which in some versions, used to eat and sleep at the roots of the trees, right? And then Cipactli also becomes kind of Mother Nature, because everything is created from this giant primordial crocodile monster, which, hell yeah. So from this giant crocodile monster, its hair grows trees, flowers, and plants. The skin creates plains, valleys, and river. Her eyes create wells and caves and fountains. From her mouth sprang rivers, lakes, and streams. Her nose created valleys and mesas. From her shoulders were mountain ranges and volcanoes. And then as the universe was organized in these 2 directions, the 4 creator gods created pairs of other gods who would control each area of power. So the water was controlled by Tlaloc and his wife, the earth by Tlaltecuhtli and Tlalcihuatl, fire by Chantico and Xutecuhtli, and the dead by Mictlantecuhtli and his wife, right? So they're kind of all over. You gave me...
So, what do you think of dinosaurs?
So I was a dinosaur child. Okay. I was a dinosaur child. And I read Dinosaurs at Daybreak, which was a Magic Treehouse book, and I had the little like research companion that went with it. And my favorite dinosaur was always like the Ankylosaurus, but one of my favorite dinosaur stories, or a couple of my favorites, are one that people thought that they had found like what they called a Gigantosaurus, right? Which was basically a T-Rex but bigger, right? And they called it a whole different dino. And then people realized that they were like, no, this was just a very, very large T-Rex.
The Andre the Giant of T-Rex.
Basically, yeah. He wasn't even that much larger, I'm going to be honest. Why was that like that? But I also really like the story about how, you know how dinosaurs are created in most mythologies?
Yes.
People would dig up dinosaur bones and like ancient giant reptiles, and they would call them dinosaur bones. It's always the big stuff. Like for example, there's a cave in China called the Zhoukoudian Cave. Mm-hmm. It's one of the places that we find the earliest ancestors of humans in China, right? Mm-hmm. And people like herbalists used to go to these caves and collect these bones and grind them up to make herbal medicine, and they called them dragon bones. But it was just like Victorians, with mummies. Always eating the dead humans. So I was a dinosaur child. And I think velociraptors are cool and pterodactyls are cool. But you know what's really cool? Ankylosaurus and plesiosaurus.
Well, that one's your favorite.
I love Ankylosaurus, and then I fully believe that Nessie is real, so plesiosauruses are therefore awesome. Because Nessie is a plesiosaur, and I think that's super cool.
Can we take a quick side note to say that pterodactyls are not dinosaurs?
They are not, technically. They are ancient chickens.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, hilarious. Because, you know what? Geese, it makes sense that birds might come from dinos when you consider geese.
Most dinosaurs are considered to be birds these days.
Yeah. Because mammals came from not dinosaurs.
Well, the original thought was that they were lizards.
Yeah.
Some of them still do have lizard-like qualities.
Yeah.
At least as far as we understand it.
But we also, there's this joke, right, about paleo artists over and under feathering animals. Mm-hmm. And it's because somebody made this joke. Because paleo artists have, like, a tendency, they don't want to, like... Obviously, we have no, like, leftover, like, feathers or anything from these kind of animals. So we don't know if they had feathers or fur, right? So dinosaurs we depict as kind of, like, scaly, almost like lizard-like, which leads to people, like, fully believing in that. But that's not, like, we don't necessarily, you know, you could do the same thing to... Look. So if you look here, somebody's done it to swans, right? It's a paleo artist, you know? Like, look at a baboon with no fur. It looks freaking weird. So, all I'm proposing is that maybe this is the case. All I'm saying. Somebody made like a color image of this, and I wish I could find it. Let me see.
Goes back in time, and T-Rexes are not as cool as you would think they look.
Damn. Because it was like this exact image, and then the person made the bird version of T-Rex take its place. Because, you know, what if it were a bird? Darn.
I think in the case of the T-Rex, though, isn't it found that the T-Rex might have had some vestigial feathers, but its body weight probably couldn't support large feathers?
Yeah, but feathers are often hollow, and we just don't know, to be quite honest. I mean, yeah, that's entirely possible, but also... we just don't know. Like, genuinely. We have, like, very few records of whether or not dinosaurs would have had feathers or not. And I mean, we can make guesses based on what we think, but that doesn't necessarily mean that our guesses are accurate. Also, fuck Jurassic Park. It should be called Cretaceous Park, to be quite honest.
Cretaceous.
Well, yeah, but most of the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park don't come from the Jurassic period. Like, T-Rex is literally closer to us than it is to half the other dinosaurs at Jurassic Park. Right? So, I don't know. That's just, okay.
Okay, but Cretaceous Park just doesn't sound cool.
I know, but Camp Cretaceous also wasn't that interesting because it was just a kid camp version of Jurassic Park. Like, animated. The only thing cool about it was that it was better done than Jurassic World. Also, that is my genuine opinion. Camp Cretaceous is better than the Jurassic World trilogy.
I don't mind the first one as like a spectacle film, but the later ones that try to be anything more than a spectacle film, like, you're just stupid.
That's entirely fair. Do you think you could beat my high score on this?
What's your high score?
Not very high.
Oh, I already beat it. I was playing it while you were playing it earlier.
Oh, were you?
I got to like 800 to 1,000.
I don't have the patience. Like, I jump too fast or too slow. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Being fair, you're also giving a presentation while you do it much harder.
Yeah. Also, my eyes aren't good at the best of times. So it's easier when I have, like, the ability to focus. Ah, see? I get caught on those. Anyways, I beat my high score, so I'm happy. Okay.
Alright, so we have a bit of a wind-up today.
Mm-hmm.
First off, we're going to go ahead and introduce you to LB7, the South American Lost Belt Nasu.
The Mesoamerican Lost Belt Nasu? Mesoamerican.
Okay, in fairness, all of America is south compared to the great US of A. Hoo-ha!
Which is so weird because, like, for some reason people just kind of like lump Mexico into Central America, right? Like, naturally. But
I could make a joke, but it would probably get us demonetized, so I'm not going to.
well, look, I know why people lump it there, and it's because of the US. But still, it's just a weird way to divide, in my opinion. Like, theoretically, it should just be North and South America splitting around Panama, right? Or when kind of you get to the South American continent. But I understand why Mesoamerica is its own, especially cultural and historical area. Like, it makes a lot of sense. It does. And those areas are distinctly quite different from America and Canada, which, you know, but they are closer to one another, which makes sense. It does. You know? It's kind of like the Eastern Bloc countries. Like, they're not Soviet anymore, obviously, but they're also not the same as Western Europe. Like, they are very distinctly the Eastern European countries.
I will also comment, and this is not an actual dig at Nasu by the South American Lost Belt's the only one I think that's labeled by an entire ass continent.
Yeah, because the rest are labeled by like
Russian, Scandinavian, which is a collection of countries.
Yeah, the Scandyland.
Scandyland. The Chinese Lost Belt, the Indian Lost Belt, the Atlantic Lost Belts, the British Lost Belt, and then you have the South American Lost Belt,
which takes place in Mesoamerica.
I don't know if it takes place in Mesoamerica. It might be South American, in South America, but it takes a lot of Mesoamerican
interesting
stuff instead of doing South America.
So this is called the Golden Sea of Trees Travelogue, Nahui Mictlan.
Yes. So,
or Ort Shibalba.
You can probably tell by the fact that this is coming up that we're not covering proper human histories Kukulkan. We're covering the Lost Belt version of Kuku here.
Mm-hmm.
Certain events led to a world in which Kukulkan... Speaking faster than I think. So, obviously, something went wrong here for it to be a Lost Belt.
Mm-hmm.
Which we will get to. But this Nahui Mictlan here, the South American Lost Belt, is separated into... It's entirely underground, actually. And
well, yeah, because it's in Mictlan, which is the lower world. Not so much underground, but like the lower world, the one below the surface of the earth.
Yeah,
which makes sense why you would call it an underworld then, because that makes sense.
It's kind of an artificial Mictlan. It is not. It's not like they went to Mictlan.
Yeah, they didn't go to the lower world. But they created a lower world.
Yeah, but like Mictlan, it's separated into 9 different, they call them districts.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all listed down here if you want to scroll down.
Yeah. So
instead of making me read them out and fuck up.
So the first one is Tlalocan, right? So this is that kind of center that the trees come from, that sort of thing, ruled by Tlaloc. And then Tlatlauqui, yeah, which is the red underworld border, okay, where the giant iguana Xochitonal lives. Okay, level 3 is the golden city of Chichen Itza. Makes sense. Valley of a valley of blades and wind where bones are discarded. Itztalqui, right? There's the bones being discarded. The 5th layer is the lake of blood and birds, Tula, containing Mexico City.
That's obviously not supposed to be there.
But Mexico City sits on top of what used to be Tenochtitlan. Which is interesting. Okay, then the 6th layer is the galactic dunes, or the blue border, called Xochauqui. Okay. 7th layer is Ihuicatl. Metztitlan. Okay, the astronomical observatory. The 8th layer is an underground mountain range. We talked about the mountain range they have to cross, called Yayauqui. And then the 9th is the land of fear, Xibalba, at the foot of the ceiba tree. The ceiba trees are the type of tree that holds up the upper world and the lower world. And ceiba is like a sacred and really common tree in a lot of Mesoamerica.
The entire thing is structured like a tube almost that you're going
Yeah, we
down.
talked about that. The cylinder that's built both vertically and horizontally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, because the other thing is, and I think I mentioned just during the T.H.E video, but there's a couple of Mesoamerican cultures, they didn't view time as linear, but they viewed it as cyclical and almost like in a cylinder that was vertical rather than like a horizontal timeline. And that kind of gets into like how you conceptualize time. But they conceptualize time differently than we did, right? So does Indian mythology. We talked about it when we talked about Rama, right? We talked about kind of the dream that's existing like for 4 billion years. But like, for example, like Mayan, I think it's Mayan or mythology, maybe Aztec, but I think it's Mayan, is that we are the 5th creation, I think, the 4th or the 5th creation. And the creation before us was, the people were monkeys, right? And the gods were mad that the monkeys didn't properly worship. They're not... The humans became monkeys, right? So the gods were mad that the humans weren't properly worshipping the humans that they created. So they turned them into monkeys, and that's why we call monkeys our cousins, right?
So,
because they're like our older brothers.
Old Mayan mythology is much closer to the reality of evolution than a lot of
Well,
other
hold
religions
on. Because the world before that, people were made out of trees. So like each of the 4 different creations or 5 different creations has a different primary or chief god ruling over them, right? So like we talk about how in the world we're in, it's Tezcatlipoca and Quetzalcoatl. Well, in an earlier world, it could have been Tlaloc. It could have been someone else instead, right? So each of the different worlds has different patron deities, and each time the people are made of different things. And then we specifically talked last time about how humans are made of corn, right? Corn and maize and something else, right?
You are what you eat.
Yeah. Yeah. So, having it be like a cylindrical thing makes sense. Like, that is the closest visual conception that we can achieve of the way that we think that Mayans thought about the time, right? The way that they depicted their version of time in terms of their mythology. Which is really interesting because you don't often interact or deal with a culture that visually conceptualizes time in a different way than the one that you do, because we visualize time as a linear progression line, right, that goes from left to right, right? That's how you draw timelines, like time goes. But when you get to someone who time is kind of cyclical and vertical, it's very different, and it changes the way that people look at things, like linguistically even. It changes the way that you define and describe things.
It's funny that we know that time is not linear.
Yeah, well, nah.
This is not the episode for theoretical physics.
No.
So, as far as how this lost belt became what it is, it's tied to the origin of the Aztec and Mayan gods in Fate. In Fate, those gods were all born of microorganisms that arrived on the meteor that killed the dinosaurs. In this lost belt, that meteor did not arrive and kill the dinosaurs at the same time. It arrived about 250 million years early. Therefore, it didn't kill the dinosaurs. The microorganisms...
I mean, technically, it should have killed the Cretaceous dinosaurs if it arrived during the Jurassic. And if it arrived during the Jurassic, it should have killed the Cretaceous.
So, the microorganisms that... I'm not even going to try working out the timeline here.
I'm being a pedantic little bitch. I'm just saying if it arrived during the Jurassic, it killed the Cretaceous.
So the microorganisms that would empower what would become the dinosaur... Or the...
You good?
No!
You need to breathe? Look, a plesiosaur! And a pterosaur! And Kamazots!
Okay, so the
And Pangea!
The microorganisms would end up empowering what would become the dinosaurs, evolving them into a human-like civilization. And so the way they existed, human history didn't quite exist yet and didn't exist in the same way. I actually opened up a tab here if you want to click into it, if you want to see some of the dinos. Because they're now called the dinos.
Oh, look at them! I like the Mesoamerican themed clothing. Look at that. Look at that lovely jade. Oh. They're so cute. I love them. I love this one. Oh, Look at it. That is the face of pure cuteness. Aww. A Triceratops! Oh. Close to a Carnotaurus. Oh. What the fuck? There's a cat on top of that one. I like this one. You know why? Because it looks a little bit like a dinosaur version of Buggy from the new One Piece.
It's a dinosaur, and it's got a gun!
I'm pretty sure that's like a plasma laser. Okay. Oh, yeah, they got face. Sorry.
So some of them do have names. We'll cover one of them later. That one that you just clicked into...
Oh! Vukub! Like the death god I talked about.
I don't think that's actually supposed to be them, but it's just the name that they got.
Well, I know,
Probably
but,
a reference.
you know. Jesus. I shouldn't have. Interesting. Huh. Either way, it's cool that it's named Vukub.
Yeah. The Great Death Clawther, I think that's supposed to be like Jaguar Warrior.
It has a cat on top of it. I love it. I love it. I like this one because it has glasses.
So that one is supposed to be it's not literally him, but it's supposed to be a parallel to, do you remember Shiki Tono from the Tsukuhime anime and manga that we read? It's supposed to be him.
Look at him. Look at this chunk. Look at this feathered chunk. I love him.
Raptor.
It looks like blue, but in a different color scheme. Okay. All right.
Dinosaurs.
Dinos. I was a dino child. It was not the only thing I was into, but I was definitely a dino child.
Me too. When I was a child, it was dinosaurs and trains.
Pretty sure it was dinosaurs and dragons for me.
So, this should have allowed history to exist as its own separate but very unique timeline, but something ended up going horribly wrong, and this history ended up going stagnant. We're going to go ahead and back up for a minute here, because we need to understand one of the most important variations on the Nasuverse apocalypse before we can get into things too much here. So go ahead and click into the next tab after the dinos. Ooh. So these are the ultimate ones. This is just an article here. I pulled this up. We can move to the next one in a second. But the basic gist of it here is, in one of Nasu's older short stories called Angel Notes, which I'm not going to recap, the Earth was killed by humans for one way or another, and it called out for help to the stars, and before we know it, the stars send help in the form of ultimate ones, like the ultimate, like the strongest thing they can send. One from each planet. In fact, I think other bodies in the solar system sent one as well.
Okay, and yeah, I can see some of them here. We just don't know much about them. Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, and so on.
Yeah, we know some about some of them.
About these ones.
Yeah.
And I know that last name.
Yes. So Type Moon, you notice that it's called Type Moon?
Yeah.
There's the namesake of the company.
Ah.
But that gets into some crazy lore that I don't feel like recapping right now.
Oh, look, Arkwade.
We'll get into that in a second. So basically, those ultimate ones would end up going to war with what was left of humanity, which ultimately wasn't very much human anymore. And it's kind of implied that by the end, everyone dies.
Okay.
These beings are extremely powerful, lacking any real concept of death, and as far as the power scaling goes, they're stronger than any servant, any beast, any grand servant. Nothing on Earth at this time is actually equipped to fight even one of them. One of the most powerful mages actually states that humanity is at least a full century too early from the modern day to even stand a chance against them, and that's a generous estimation. Another high-ranking mage doesn't even think humanity can beat one at all. Instead, it would only be possible via the next intelligent life form after humanity, or whatever humanity does next.
Maybe this is why it's called the South American Lost Belt.
That is why Nasu wanted it in South America. We're going to cover that, actually, now. Ort, a.k.a. the giant spider. People previously thought he was type Mercury, but it's been later clarified that he is type Oort for the Oort cloud.
He looks like something. something from something else that I've seen. And I cannot tell you what at the moment. He just looks like something.
So...
It's almost like a praying mantis, but alien. Do you know what I mean?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
So Ort here is unique in that it arrived around 5,000 years early. Mm-hmm. Ort's big thing is that it eats things.
You know what? I feel it. Wait, you called this a spider?
Yes.
The Ungoliant.
Kinda, yeah.
It's the Ungoliant. So for those of you who are not well versed in Middle-earth lore, right? The Middle-earth verse, Tolkien created this basically primordial being that emerged at the edges of the world, right? It was called the Ungoliant, and it was depicted by a spider-like creature, right? And I mean like absolutely massive. Like this thing was the size of a mountain, right? And the Ungoliant destroyed the trees at the edge of the world that were producing light, right? Which is why Galadriel is like the last elf on Earth, one of the last elves on Middle-earth to have seen the light of the trees, because the Ungoliant destroyed them like a long time before the story that you know as Lord of the Rings began. And the Ungoliant is literally known, like the way that Tolkien describes her, she can't really be killed because she's a sheer like physical personification of nothingness and hunger. She hungers. She wants nothing more than to eat everything and just keep eating. And she lives like almost in the void at the edge of the world, trying to consume the world.
It would not surprise me if this was a direct reference. Nasu is a well-known pop culture head.
Well, and also the Ungoliant is the many times creator of Shelob from the Lord of the Rings movie. Shelob is one of the children of the Ungoliant.
So within all worlds, it is something even the worst people know not to actually fuck with. Mm-hmm. In Tsukihime worlds, one dumbass dead apostle. There's why I said dead ass.
Oh, I see how it looks like a spider now. I couldn't really tell from the front.
Yeah.
I don't like spiders.
One dumbass dead apostle got eaten by it and absorbed, technically making this thing one of the dead apostle ancestors by weird technicality.
That seems like a stretch, but okay.
So, as far as what it can do, it eats things. Its ultimate goal is to eat the planet itself, and when it consumes something, it absorbs just about every property that creature has.
Okay.
Its skin is near impenetrable and is simultaneously cold and hot at the same time. Even if one were to do real damage to it, it would never recover. It would just recover that damage anyways. Mm-hmm. The only real means of destroying it is to disintegrate the entire body at once.
Okay.
The area around it will also transform everything around it into an alien crystallized landscape called the Crystal Valley. Mm-hmm. It has, at the end of the day, it's generally got 0 weaknesses.
Okay. Do we have an image of the Crystal Valley somewhere in here?
I can get one.
Oh, we have one.
There it is.
Okay. Interesting. All right.
But yeah, you did see in the South America thing, in the proper human history, it crash landed in South America.
Yeah, it says it's living in a South American village right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Interesting.
In proper human history, that happened before the meteor that killed the dinosaurs. And it just kind of went to sleep.
Okay.
But we'll get to the Lost one in a second. Whenever you're ready to move on, we can go ahead and move on.
Okay, where am I going next?
Just next tab?
Kamazats?
Yep. So this is Kamazats.
Oh, a beast class.
So you see...
Hey, look at that. Lord of the House of Fear, King of the Underworld. Bad Man, King of the Braves.
So when Ort arrived in the Lost Belt, all of the dinos fled underground to Mictlan. Mm-hmm. The surface world of Pangaea is still burning to the modern day.
Okay.
The dinos would, with some assistance, evolve to obtain photosynthesis, which they use to survive, but they'd end up entering a long hibernation. Mm-hmm. They continue to draw on the sun's energy, and eventually the sun would burn out after a very long time. Mm-hmm. Humans or an ancestor of them would eventually come to live in Mictlan as well, and could flourish with their king Kamazats. Mm-hmm. He would exist for the purpose of fighting Ort, and the people would sacrifice themselves to allow him to defeat Ort. or it would eventually awaken from its impact in the surface world and try to descend into Mictlan, but Camazotz intercepted it. To beat Ort, it had to consume all of humanity, or Camazotz had to basically take the sacrifices of all of humanity. And eventually Camazotz managed to deal with Ort by ripping its heart out and using its heart as the new son of Mictlan.
Fun. Ooh.
He is as strong as he is because he is actually a beast. So, yes, that's him getting...
Pointy teeth and red eyes, Knick-Knack. You know me. Pointy
That's
teeth and red eyes.
Nitocris he's got holding
I
there.
know. I love Nitocris, but... Oh, man, I love Camazotz. This might be a new favorite. You know, on par with Ketz.
Unfortunately, he is quite sturdily in NPC hell. What you just saw there...
But he's so attractive.
What you just saw there was
Look at
how
them
he could
thighs.
beat Ort, because he's actually Beast 1, but not the Beast 1 of proper human history, just in the Lost Belt.
I mean, look at them thighs. I'm just saying.
All I'm saying here is that there is a convenient new beast class that Camazotz could be in thanks to Draco.
Well, what? Also, Drake. What is it with the beasts just being like, you know, you know what I mean? You know what I mean.
So, as a beast, he just becomes a giant bat monster with tentacles.
Yes, I saw that. It was honestly kind of endearing.
It would be for you.
Where's the? I gotta pull the pride flag up with the tentacle on it.
So you saw it a moment ago with him holding Nitocris. What he's doing there is he actually has the ability to just alter servant spirit origins to his will.
Yeah.
And in terms of strength, he's about the strength of 100,000 servants and can summon swarms of bats to fight for him.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest here, right? This, right, lovely. The addition of tentacles does not make it worse. It in fact makes it better. Like, so much better. So much. Also, before we move on to that, I do want to take a look at the appearance shit. Since we don't have a ton of images of it, I do want to read over this because I'm curious. So the helmet represents a bat's face. Interesting. It's got a lot of piercings, which is actually pretty characteristic for Mesoamerican cultures. Piercings were, interestingly enough, piercing was actually considered a form of self-sacrifice. Like, you could pierce yourself and kind of shed the blood, and it would be considered like a sacrifice to the gods in some situations. Let's see. Can I get a back view?
No.
Can I get a back view?
No. Bonk.
Also, I do like this bit here about the personality where he says he thinks he's the only person who can be Mictlan's king because Tezcatlipoca only cares about the present and Kukulkan only cares about the future. Because those would be the two gods in charge of the current world. And if he's like, well, they don't care. Okay. That's fair. Aww. And he's got a good heart. He cares for his people. Look, he's the whole package. Hot, sharp teeth, red eyes, tentacles, cares for his people. Yeah, I'm sold.
So, that's all going to get into story spoilers here, so...
I will skip down to abilities. If that is where we are going next. You got anything? Oh, hey, look. Xochitl warns King Protea. I know those names. Okay. So he's got some, like... Vampire-ish stuff. I'm okay with that. That's the whole bat thing, vampire thing's fine by me. I'm cool with that. I am also a necromancer in campaign, in FGO. You know? I got you. Okay. Alright. What else do you have to tell me about this?
So I don't have much here. There actually might be a lot of new stuff from when I was doing my notes here. I did these notes a while ago.
Yeah.
Like I didn't actually catch the Dead Apostle stuff. Otherwise, I definitely would have made it into my notes. If you want to scroll down here, we have the Beast version of him as well.
Hang on. For every one spirit that obeys him, 99 are ignoring him. But it doesn't pose a problem due to the ruins having over 100,000 people buried there. So we're scrolling down to Beast.
Yep.
Beastie Boy. I mean, it's not making him less attractive, I'm gonna be honest. You know? It's really not. I would imagine this is the same kind of principle as the werewolf. You get both a partner and a pet. Scary dog privilege.
I mean, if your pet is fucking massive, then sure.
Scary dog privilege. The internet knows what I'm talking about. Alright, you have some stuff to tell me about this that's not strange and internet-y.
Not really. I covered most of it. I'm just trying to scan here for anything that I might have missed in my notes because it was added more recently.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, look, he can summon a swarm of bats to absorb light, causing a thick layer of darkness. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Turn Tlaloc into mincemeat. Literally says mincemeat. So I'm picturing... Topical reference. I'm picturing that moment when Gildart touches Natsu and he turns into like 1,000 itty-bitty Natsus.
I don't remember that.
Oh, never mind.
So I've got the boss fight if you want to take a look at that whenever you're ready.
Okay.
Are y'all doing the recording still?
Yep.
Alright.
Quickly before we go to the before we move on to that, I do want to take a look at see if who
the artist is.
If the artist has done anyone else. Okay. So he did do the character design for King of the Cabaret Edmond Dantes drama CD. But it doesn't list any other specific characters.
No,
for
it looks
FGO.
like he's only done Camazotz as far as like FGO characters go.
Okay. Alright. You have a battle for me. You can clear off the chair if there's stuff on it. Just like, you see that pile of stuff behind you? Right? You can put it on to the side with the notebooks on top.
Oh.
You can put it on top of the notebooks.
Okay.
Oh, look at that graphic.
忘却を禁じる忘れることを許さぬだと
I had to skip around a little bit.
神徳を下ったまずろいそれが切り札か
Hit him, Gramps.
目障りです。
What? Hit him,
Nothing.
Gramps. I know who that is. It's Gramps. All right.
Go ahead.
Okay.
So can we acknowledge the elephant in the room right now?
Ort.
No. The bigger one.
Oh shit! There's a... I forgot you'd show up on camera.
Hi, everybody.
In my head, for some reason, I just thought that would not be visible. I'm so fucking stupid. I'm so fucking dumb.
It's okay. It's okay. The one collective brain cell forgives you.
Apparently, I don't have it at the moment.
Yeah.
Hello, Realm.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good.
So back to Ort here. So Lost Belt Ort is somewhat different than normal Ort. This Ort actually ate the Lost Belt's tree of emptiness called Quasar, causing what was left of it to wither. Ort would obtain some of the tree's abilities, and he can grow smaller trees around the Lost Belt in the form of crystals. This Ort is absolutely terrifying. This probably extends to the proper human history Ort as well, but this Ort has shown that he can do it.
Yeah.
Ort can not only eat servants, but in doing so, is also eating their history from the Throne of Heroes and storing it within itself.
So does that eliminate them from the Throne of Heroes?
Yes.
But it makes them exist inside of himself. So theoretically,
Yes.
he can then call forth said servants to fight for him?
He hasn't shown himself doing that yet.
But, like, what is the implication there?
Well, in FGO, there's a giant-ass boss fight where you fight him, and whenever he kills a servant, you can't use him until that boss fight's done.
Okay. I'm curious as to what the implication, if the servants, if he's not destroying it, right, but they're just inside of him, do they become a part of him? Does he gain their abilities? Can he then utilize them and summon them?
You don't see it in FGO, but he probably could utilize their abilities, too. One thing he does do with that, though, is once he eats enough of them throughout that boss fight, he just copies the Throne of Heroes entirely within himself.
Okay.
The boss fight with him lasts anywhere from 40 minutes to an hour, depending on how you go through the phases. And yeah, it's some. If anything stops me from streaming FGO, it's going to be this, because I don't have enough servants level to beat this thing.
Oh God, the fact that you need so many is startling and disturbing.
This version of Ort is a little bit weaker, though, on account to the fact that Camazotz ripped his heart out.
Well, yeah, that would make anyone a little bit weaker. It reminds me of that thing where people are just like, you know what kills a vampire? Cutting off their head or stabbing a stake through their heart. Well, okay, but that kills just about everybody.
Okay, but the more impressive thing here is, like, that the vampire survived having the stake driven through its heart. He survived having his heart ripped out.
Oh, you know what? That's fair. That's very fair.
It's impressive that he's still alive, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So he ends up going into a deep sleep, but, you know, to destroy a lost belt, you have to get rid of its tree.
Mm-hmm.
Or is the tree?
Yup.
That presents a bit of a problem.
Yup.
It's about now that I'll also note that the spider is not the core of Ort's body. It's actually the UFO-like object that circles above it.
Yeah, that gold thing I opened up earlier.
Yeah, this thing is called the Galactic Supercell.
Okay.
That object can be retreated, that object it can retreat into whenever its spider body is destroyed. And that object is also capable of using nuclear fusion to generate storms and raise external temperatures to about 10,000 degrees. It doesn't specify the measure. I'm going to go Celsius, just off assumption.
Yeah, probably.
So
Fahrenheit's stupid.
I actually forgot to pull something up, but I'll pull it up later.
Okay.
So, but I've got 2 boss fights here if you want to look at them.
Okay. Ooh, woo, summer woo. Which means mommy woo. It's just a big fuck off spider.
Yeah.
I really don't like spiders, but this doesn't remind me of a spider. I think it reminds me of a praying mantis. You know? Then that makes sense.
And this is the supercell.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a giant ass alien.
I know. It's just, you know, very Men in Black.
So, I mentioned earlier that it replicated the entire ass Throne of Heroes.
Yeah.
One thing it did is it created a brand new class container for itself. We can move on to that if you want.
Is that this?
Yep. Ort Jabalba, also
Shibadba.
an artificial Grand Foreigner.
Oh, from across the cosmos.
Yeah.
You know what this looks like?
Jesus Christ.
It do be.
Yeah, honestly, it does.
It do be
I
a
didn't
little
need
bit.
to see an anthropomorphized Xerneas, I'm sorry.
Okay, but like a little bit, it do be.
It do be, honestly. It's just
Color palette's off.
Color palette, and also
A little more feminine.
oh well, this one's also more mechanical looking.
Yeah.
So.
But still.
So,
Oh.
yeah, this thing is only one part of Ort, though, because there's a bigger problem, at least at the point where this thing comes out. Because while they destroy Ort in the Galactic Supercell, one giant fuck you piece of Ort still remains.
Okay.
The fucking sun.
Yeah.
So, this thing's job, it's probably weaker than Ort itself, but it's sufficient enough to do its one job, which is just, you know, protecting the sun.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I am supposed to have another boss fight pulled up here.
Oh. This artist has done a lot more.
Yeah, he did.
Character designer for Darius III, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, and Antonio Salieri. And Kukulkan.
He also did Roa for Tsukuhime's remake.
He also did it. He also did Dust of Osiris's Hermes and Melty Blood.
He's
Vimana
done a
and
lot of
Fate
characters.
Zero. Yeah. Okay. All right.
But yeah.
And I've seen Darius.
If you want, I can go ahead and quickly pull up that.
Yeah, go for it.
Down the rabbit hole we go. What?
Circus afro, polka dot, pancakes!
Good old pancakes.
Also Mother's Basement.
Yeah.
Ooh, custard cream buns. Oh god.
So yeah, that is Orchard Ball, but well, yeah.
Ah. Okay.
So if you click into the next thing, we're actually going to go over another Type Moon concept. We still are getting to Cuckoo, by the way.
Oh god. I forgot we started on Cuckoo already.
Like, whoa, that was we still haven't touched Cuckoo.
Yeah.
The point of this video.
So now we're on archetypes, as I can see.
Yes, and archetypes don't have a particularly clear definition in Type Moon yet, and we've only seen a handful of them. They're sort of the personifications of the ultimate ones.
Okay.
So at least that's the general thing vibe we're getting from them. Of the ones that we know, the most important one here that you'll recognize is going to be Archetype Earth.
From the various different worlds?
Yes.
But I also see that Kukulkan is technically an archetype for Ort. Or
yes.
Mictlan.
We'll cover that in a second.
Oh!
That works.
So, Squeak is the archetype of Earth? Like the Earth in the South American
Go ahead and
Lost Belt?
click into the next tab, and I'll try to explain how a lot of this works. But yes, Arcoade is our archetype Earth in proper human history.
Interesting.
So every time Vorn asks, how does this connect to fate?
This right here.
I'm gonna be honest, this is my favorite outfit.
This is that's actually a really cool design.
This is second, maybe, but I really like the long, dramatic ball gown.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of that. I feel like there's not enough of it in fighting games.
Right.
Just fight in a ball gown.
Is this an alternate costume at all in Belty Blood?
No, it's not actually.
That would be an awesome DLC costume.
Oh, they're a fucking moon cancer. I hate moon
Yeah.
cancers.
So I'm including her here because I have literally no better place to put her, and the fan base would eventually want me to put this in somewhere. But Archetype Earth is effectively the brain of the planet.
Would you like a weapon?
Sure, I will take a weapon.
I'm surrounded by weapons. All I've got is a pair of dulled edge scissors.
I've been collecting things to threaten Knick-Knack with.
I see, yeah.
So Archetype Earth is capable of drawing in magical energy from around the world, as she is what's called a true ancestor. We've covered those before.
Yep.
She's capable of manipulating the earth near effortlessly. When summoned as a servant, she is weakened a little bit. She's only able to cause small manipulations on the scale of storms and earthquakes.
Mm-hmm.
It's also been shown that she can grow into a giant form of light when her physical body is destroyed.
Like Kukulkan did in that one modern story where they dove into the ocean and created earthquakes. Sorry.
I mean, that's a good connection there. So she does have a noble phantasm.
Okay.
We'll cover that. We'll go watch it in a second if you want to look at some of the artwork here more
yeah.
full.
Really just the sprites.
Yeah.
That one's really cool.
Oh yeah, I like the sprite of this one more than the art, because I feel like in the art it just looks it's not very clear.
Mm-hmm.
I still like the first one though a lot. All right, so is it this?
Yes. Looks like
Yes. So this is called Marble Phantasm.
Okay.
It's sort of like a reality marble, except instead of dragging things into one's personal world or constructing one's personal world around the physical one, Marble Phantasm is altering the world into the personal reality.
Oh, fun. Just
These are all the
casually
different
bend
versions
reality.
of it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Small scale.
There we go.
成層圏までひとっ飛び大気の守り星の周り束ねて落として見せましょう
If only she was pile driving into the target. You know, that would be perfect.
That one's more or less the same.
Yeah, this is the same as the first one.
Fun fact about this Noble Phantasm, though, that field of flowers behind her, that actually sticks around in the fight after the Noble Phantasm animation is over.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
See?
Okay.
Nice.
So I have one other thing here, which is technically, and we don't need to go into actual details here.
Is it this?
Let's cover it real quickly. So this Archetype Earth is not Archewade in the Lost Belt, but a dinosaur, because all of the Lost Belts people are dinosaurs, named Jaquick.
It's so cute.
That's funny.
I love it. He looks so derpy.
Yeah.
She looks so derpy.
She is meant to be a parallel to Archewade. You actually, we'll see that in a second too. But yeah,
it's a Diplodocus.
Interesting.
At this point, I'm just enjoying.
Looking at the artists here.
Oh, Georgios, T.H.E, and other Danos. I like T.H.E.
Nice.
So the next video I have here is another Archewade thing. Archewade is in Fate Extra as a Berserker servant. This is an Archetype Earth. It's not that relevant, but
is this gonna get us copyrighted?
No, this one's not.
All right.
This is just her Noble Phantasm.
Okay.
From that game. Well, first, Tomo.
Tomokea.
Here we go.
Or no, actually, that's Caster.
Ooh, Big Moon.
Yep. And that's it.
That was underwhelming and disappointing.
It's an old era game.
Finally, only an hour and 11 minutes into our recording.
Question, can I clean up all these?
Yeah, you can get rid of all the Type Moon tabs here.
Okay.
We're finally going to actually get into the servant this video is supposed to be about. Kukulkan.
Cuckoo!
So Cuckoo you did catch is Archetype Ort.
Yes. I'm gonna art myself for a second, not Ort, but art. We're loving the assless chaps.
The cowboy right there.
Oh look! It's like down the side of Chichen Itza, the arches of like the feathered serpent. Oh, that's actually hella cool. I'm loving the color palette. Oh. You know what this reminds me of? Space Ishtar and Calamity Jane.
Kinda.
A little bit, yeah. Like, in terms of, like, the kind of more sci-fi vibe. Still, assless. Oh, wow. There's a lot of...
That's a crotch shot.
That's a lot. I do like the headpiece. Is that supposed to be like a serpent with the feathers trailing behind it?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that looks really cool with the feathers and everything. What does it look like as a sprite? Let's see.
That actually wasn't the special, like, big final artwork.
Oh.
Oop.
Oh, yeah, I missed this one. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, that's not covering much back there.
No.
That is practically a thong.
Cuckoo says no to pants.
Yeah.
You know, I do kind of feel that. Pants are the creation
Or at
of
least
the
that's
devil
shorts
himself.
there. Even if they're assless
Yeah.
chaps, they are shorts.
Yeah. Oh, look, it's like a little I think that's like a feathered serpent head on the belt buckle. It's a giant Texas-style belt buckle.
That's cool.
Yeah, we're here for it. The fringe, the leather,
Yep.
the chaps. She's also got like a chest necklace piece that's kind of Mesoamerican inspired, like Ket's had.
So something easy to...
Oh, and there's even more of it. Okay. Yeah, it does look more like kind of the serpent head and the feathers.
Something easy to miss with her design here. If you go back to the previous one, or either one really, the back of her hair is a complete, like, it's more of a jewel-like color.
Yeah.
It's actually
It
consistent.
almost looks like an emerald looking at
Yeah.
it.
It's very pretty green. Jeez. I mean, I really like it from, like, here up, you know, including the cape. But I don't love that, but, like, love this. Like, I really like the whole, like, headdress and headpiece thing. Looks really cool.
So, Cuckoo here is the Lost Belt's king, and unlike other kings, unlike other kings, she didn't experience most of the Lost Belt's history. Like proper human history, Kukulkan arrived as a microscopic organism on a meteor that should have killed the dinosaurs. But since there was no life to believe in gods, she never became a god and instead stayed dormant. Until the cryptor of this Lost Belt, who we'll cover in a different video, and his servant arrived in the Lost Belt and introduced the dinos to the concept of gods, specifically the Mesoamerican ones. This caused them to begin worshipping the only thing they really knew, the sun. And then Kukulkan was formed. Very sparkly, very affectionate, and she likes to fight a lot.
Also, she likes everything that is new, and she'll accept life in this civilization head on.
Now, the reason why she's archetype Ort is because they're worshipping the sun, which happens to, in this Lost Belt, be Ort's heart. This makes her a deification of Ort's heart, making her a variant of Ort as well. So, oh yeah, you have your relationships.
I have relationships. A lot of relationships. Hang on. Aww. The attitude towards her master is really adorable. Love that. Alright. Tezcatlipoca, are you asking me about him? He's Kukulkan's rival in proper human history. So when I went to see him, he was different from what I thought. He was docile and rational. When I said that, what do you think he said? Of course I am. Compared to you, anyone would be rational, Birdie. Isn't that mean? I'm confident in my memory, you know. Tezcatlipoca, huh? I can go kill him whenever you want. We're mutual enemies. It's not that I don't like that he can do anything unlike me, you know? That's Quetzalcoatl, a free wind who not only cunningly changed her name when she moved from the Maya to the Azteca and became very popular, but also became obsessed with Mexican culture after becoming a servant. Oh no, I feel dizzy from this astounding feeling of affinity. Please let me call you older sister. If anything, I'd be the older sister? No way. Quetzalcoatl, the real free wind who I admired and envied. May I someday become a wind who loves the future like her. Yeah, I think we talked about that in Cats, that she's like identified with the wind a lot of the time. Tenochtitlan. A soul resides in the city. My origins are the same. I want to get along with her, but for some reason she hates me. She says things like how annoying it is that Quetzalcoatl is an airhead even if she becomes a different person. Don't you think there's nothing to worry if I'm a different person, huh? Minamoto no Tametomo. A robust body, a sharp insight, and most importantly, a noble soul. I wanted to meet you. You must be Orion-san, right? I've been a great fan since I heard your anecdote with Artemis-san. Please let me have one match with you. I'm wrong? Tametomo-san? Then Orion-san is, it's better if you don't know him, you say.
Considering that I know Orion, yeah.
Artemis-san is my shopping pal. I owe her for showing me that even gods can enjoy shopping, and we both can talk endlessly about love. But she won't bring the rumored Orion-san with her. That's a weird bear, though. I got something to tell you. Cuckoo. I got something to tell you. Today I had a pleasant talk with Jaguar Man-san, too. Jaguar Man-san got me fucked up. She's friendly, energetic, considerate, incomprehensible, and incredibly like-minded. Tezcatlipoca's divided spirit? That person? Again with the jokes. As distant from proper human history as I am, you won't deceive me, you know? Okay. Archetype Earth. No need to guess. That princess is an archetype. I see. So she's like that in proper human history. Her personality is different from Ishquik, though. She's totally my kind. Looks like we'll get along really well. Melusine. Interesting. Please listen, just now, I had a rendezvous with this girl called Melusine, and it was super exciting. You're good in your own way. If you're my opponent, next time I may get serious. If you don't mind, let's bet, Master. That's nice, let's do that. She said, whoa, a sudden windfall. Look at me, Master, I won't lose in an aerial battle. I hope she doesn't lose in an aerial battle. That would suck. Tamamo no Mai, I know it. That despite her hiding her true identity, she's also a divine spirit overflowed from the sun. Good wife Miko Fox. Tamamo 9? Japanese mythology is more complicated and mysterious than Mayan mythology. Lies and slander.
No, that's not Japanese mythology. That's fate.
Having studied both lies and slander.
I mean, that's just them jerking off their own culture, really. Yeah.
Kiara Seshoin. There's a Star Eater. Give me your orders, Master. That's a rational life form that should be killed while we can. She'll become a shame for the Earth, you know. Okay.
Welcome, Vorn.
All other female foreigners. I'm not surprised, but there's another descended one other than me. But there's an inside and an outside for foreigners, a threat from the outside. Is this also a lost spell created by Chaldea?
Ignore that.
Yep.
So, ability-wise, Cuckoo is absurdly strong, fast, capable of high-speed flight, can fire lasers, and can cause extreme amounts of destruction with just a punch. Oh, and the more motivated she is, the more the laws of physics just stop really mattering to her. For all intents and purposes, she is just a Super Saiyan.
You know what? I'm totally okay with that. I love me a good Super Saiyan. Ooh, look at that.
Literal Super Saiyan.
That looks super cool. All right.
So her noble phantasms are...
Well, hold on. class skills first. So territory creation, civilization creation makes sense because T.H.E and Tezcatlipoca are the creators of the current civilization, and Kuku is just another version of T.H.E. Divine core of the benevolent god, water of life. Okay. All right. Existence outside the domain. Archetype Ort. And then personal skills like charisma of the jade. I was correct. It was jade. We are the winged serpent. Kukulkan is Kukumats and also Quetzalcoatl. Yep. Which we talked about. Golden Sea of Trees travelogue. Okay, now we're on to Noble Phantasm.
So I'm going to let you pronounce that first one there.
Well, and I remember... Because this... Yeah, that makes sense. I recognize the name. So... So that's Kinich Ahau, right? And Kinich Ahau is the Mayan sun god in Yucatec Mayan. This is Kinich Ahau as a king, right? Because he is the kind of the royal sun god. But yeah, I remember that name from my Mayan class.
So what that one ends is that, like Archwage, you can gain a massive luminescent form by drawing on the life across the Lost Belt. She lacks nearly the level of control that Arc has over it, but she is technically a foreign... it's because she's a technically foreign entity from Earth. Mm-hmm. And the other Noble Phantasm here is Sun Xibalba.
Last Sun Xibalba?
Yes, Last Sun Xibalba. By taking on the role of Ort's heart, she raises the temperature of the area to be equivalent to that of the sun while using her Noble Phantasm.
Oh, man.
Oh, Christ.
Well, Xibalba was in the road to El Dorado. Xibalba, Xibalba. They're sending it to Xibalba, the spirit world.
So I have the Noble Phantasms on video here if you want to pull them up.
Yes.
ギューンギューン得意分もちろん
Calling out her own name like a goddamn Pokemon. Kill, kill. I know that's not what she's saying, but still.
She's like
T-pose
the
to
only
assert your
viable
dominance.
servant I have in FGOJP.
Yeah,
So I've seen this so many times.
remember, always T-pose to assert your dominance.
Exactly.
覚悟してくださいねククルカン本気パンチ
I can see why she's one of the few viable servants to have in there.
There's a fucking bear.
There is a
Ooh.
bear, right?
There's the cloak version, which I really liked that section of.
螺旋の空
Oh.
究極の位置我こそ最後の太陽ラストサンシバルバ
To
Just casually drop a sun on your fucking opponents, you know?
Exactly.
Just drop a sun on them.
So both the servants that, like the FGO servants we covered today, are relatively newer. So we shouldn't have too much over. Oh, you see some
I do. There's some
concept here.
prototype, like concepting.
That's cool. They almost designed her to be a more elf-like, which is
Oh,
interesting.
I kind of like this version.
With the tail.
A little bit, yeah. But also for the clothing difference. Ooh, I love that.
Oh, nice.
That would have been really cool.
The dragon scales and like the dragon
Yeah.
ears. That's pretty cool.
Okay, I do want to... character designer for T.H.E.
That makes
Both
sense.
versions.
That makes
makes
sense.
sense.
Yeah. All right, interesting. This color was done by a different artist. The person who does the color also does a bunch of other stuff.
Like Baal, Phoenix.
Character designer for Baal, Phoenix, Tiamat, Goetia, Sherlock Holmes, and Alien Priestess. And the character illustrator for Larva, Tiamat, and Beast 6?
Yeah, these 6.
Beast 6. Interesting. Okay. So now we've got...
CEs for
CEs.
Arc and Cuckoo.
All right. We also have unique class card.
Yes,
For
Arc has a
Archetype
special
Earth.
Moon Cancer class card.
And we've got our baseball. You can never forget the baseball. This is adorable.
It is very adorable, actually.
Fucking love it. Just heal.
Roundhouse kick.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, by the way, shout out since we have Arc Wait Up guys, they're doing a translation. They're officially releasing the first part of the Tsukihime remake in the West. Go get it to support localization, please.
Yippee!
Okay. Moon Margaret. And there's the flower from the Field of Flowers.
Mm-hmm.
And so upon the princess's return to the inner sea of the planet, her memories turned to seed and bloomed as flowers on the lakeshore. He had told her that she resembled it, not a primordial seed, but a single surface flower. As if contemplating love, repeating a memory in her head, or simply dreaming, the words left her mouth. So that no matter the distance between us, you will never forget the moonlight. Refrain, refrain, may the roar of the waves be heard in his world too. Leaving that aside, though, while I'm sorry for being a tomboy princess, I still firmly remember your merciless criticisms too, you know. Nice.
That's the melty blood.
You good?
I'm probably congested, you know.
Okay.
Being around secondhand smoke in a casino was not fun.
All right. I only believe in the God I worship.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I'm not going to worry about that because I think we'll see that later with someone else.
Yeah.
Oh, look, the flowers and the earth, and it's half like molten lava bowl and half actually earth. That's Japan.
Yep.
Happy Valentine's Day with the comet. It's the comet that hit the Yucatan.
Oh, man.
No, I don't think that's it.
Why not?
Because this is arcs, not cuckoo.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Dang.
This
Then
one's-
it's just a shooting star. Okay.
It is a shooting star.
All right. All right. Archetype Valentine's chocolate from Earth. A circular chocolate with a pattern of half the Earth and half the moon. Okay. A mysterious crack runs through the moon. The first handmade sweets by a princess from the Utsumi of the Stars, not a boxed princess. However, the chocolate with the crack is not my first time making it, and I'm fairly used to it. Okay.
It's interesting that they have the moon painted as almost like lava.
Yeah. Well, the moon's very craterous.
Yeah.
Oh, cute. Love new servants.
Never official translations, nor fan translations.
Summer sunlight and the sea? It's okay. I'm good at it. I even caught an octopus in the cold sea. Well then, true ancestor, let's go. A vampire princess appeared in the summer sky. I have to say that his appearance is as dazzling as the sun. We wondered if there were any humans who could wield this princess. Okay. And then cuckoo!
Cuckoo.
Cuckoo. Alright. Baseball!
They put a nice green tinge over all of that section.
They did,
Yeah.
but also baseball. And she's
Baseball.
got her little jade bracelet, and the green is reflected kind of under.
That's
Love
cute.
that. Yeah, they even look at the side too. It's even got designs going down it.
Nice.
Some cool stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's her little...
When she's calling down Shbalba.
Yep.
Kukulkan!
Kukulkan. And she's
With
eating
the corn! She's eating the maize.
You are what you eat.
You are what you eat. All right, we've got 4.
Yeah.
My first gift. Oh, and there's the jacket.
Yep.
Yeah, with the orange and green and the emeralds.
Yeah.
Lovely. All right. See you again soon. I want you to remember nothing but the good times, so I'll give you something more mundane than a weapon. One day it will be my time to vanish, but this at least will remain. My favorite jacket, my best and first gift. It wasn't about whether it would suit me, or if I wanted to dress more fancily, or any other self-interest like that. Bright, light, and gentle colored, I shaped my body and mind to imitate those gods who look good in things like that. However, it's unbecoming of a god to so obviously desire the entertaining tools of human society. I thought that act would, itself, make me a failure of a god, so I kept holding back, restraining myself, until eventually I just couldn't bear it any longer and went to buy it, but I couldn't. Then I was feeling seriously down. Please take it if you want to. You resemble someone I know who'd look good in that. Naturally, I did take the hair ornament too, but it was their words that made me so happy. They could tell what kind of person this would suit from the affection in their eyes just by looking at them. The self-proclaimed god, who was neither self-confident nor self-aware, put in a request, got a suitable time, and then made it worth their while, or something like that. Sometime I'll tell you about the travelogue of what happened after that. I tried to live up to the trust that I was given, but it came to an end in the blink of an eye. But at the end, my smile was like the sun, yes? Adorable. All right. Orbit Radiance thing. And look, it's the little dinos. And look, there's Fat T-Rex.
Fat T-Rex.
It's Fat T-Rex theory.
Actually, that might be a raptor.
I don't care. It looks like my Fat T-Rex theory. And then you've got your Diplodocus and your Triceratops and a little normal T-Rex. Love new servants. Valentine's chocolate from Kukulkan. A palm-sized smooth chocolate ball. It looks like the core of a spaceship. Anyways, it's made by condensing cacao tightly. Its compressed density cannot be reproduced on Earth. In other words, you can't eat it. Well, to commemorate something, there are about 4 bonus dinosaur chocolates, mash helpers. It also has functions other than chocolate, but they won't activate unless Kukulkan is there, so don't worry. Bitch gave you, like, literally space compressed chocolate that has other functions.
Literally a solid, like, drone projectile weapon, and for who knows what the fuck.
I'll be honest, that feels like Kukulkan. Paintball!
Look, she's wearing pants!
I know! And look, she's got the little, it's the head, it's like the head of the feathered serpent at the base of the T.H.E temple on her belt buckle, which is once again a giant Texas-style belt buckle. And temples behind her. Interesting. Okay.
That's a lot of tie-dye.
That's not tie-dye.
That's paint from paintball.
tie-dye.
It's paint from paintball. Tie-dye is different. Tie-dye has patterns. Okay, this is a
It's
heroic
just gonna be
spirit
like
event
a-
attire. Yeah. Okay, so last one is Ref Rain. Oh, that's a cute outfit. I love that. Ref Rain. Alright. Countless tears of light, the heartstrings of the night drawn. They dissipate without a sound, robbing me of my words, making my heart tremble, and then disappearing, leaving only a small amount of heat behind. It's a never-ending next thing. The end line will never come, leaving behind what I'm seeing off. Okay.
So before we finish up, I need to say something, because I know you jackass in the comment right there. You're going to bring up something along the lines of Cuckoo is one of the few characters to canonically have sex with the Master in FGO. You're wrong. That's misinformation. Go away, sir.
They're still gonna say it. They don't care.
The background on that is that they do exchange, or the Master gives Cuckoo mana and does mana transfer with her. In the original Fate visual novel, that was contextualized as sex. We've since then had more
Tame.
yeah, thank you, Vorn. Tame versions of that, and it was a peck on the lips. That's what it was. It was a peck on the goddamn lips, you horny bastards.
Yeah, they're still gonna be horny bastards. They're still gonna say segs.
Well,
We're talking about Fate fans.
with
here.
that being said, I'm going to have to get on my packet of reading about thermonuclear astrophysics. Won't I?
Yep.
Take care, everyone. Like, comment, subscribe, and try harder.